Do neurodivergents make great pets? Thought I had while I was driving today, and I heard an old song, Porno from Pyro, Pets, right? Will make great pets. And it made me think about sort of the neurodivergent experience in corporate over the past few years. We've become sort of this talking point in that, obviously having a diverse workforce helps a company become more profitable. And the neurodivergent conversation really kicked up around COVID because like some people that had struggled significantly in the workplace stopped struggling when they were working from home, which became an interesting thing to think about and talk about. And then a lot of people that had like no mental health struggles prior to COVID were struggling immensely. The neurotypicals started to struggle during COVID. And so suddenly the conversation became more relevant, even though most of us were like, duh, I've had this problem for 20 years and you didn't care. But now that it's impacting you, let's talk about it. And so it became this focus, and companies really start talking about like, oh yeah, we really want to hire diverse, people from diverse backgrounds. And it was all about diversity and inclusivity, not just neurodivergence, but neurodivergence got a big theme because we're supposed to have all these special skills and talents, and some of the stereotypes around it. Some of us are supposed to be like tech whizzes, and which I am not, or like super organized and like project management minded, which I am not. So we're supposed to have these special skills, and we get invited in, or some of us, like me, were already there, but sort of like getting to be like, wait, I'm one too. I know we never talked about it before, but include me in this group because I identify with them. And I would like to showcase the skill set that I have. So it kind of became this thing of like, yes, please, as many as we can get, and let's talk about it. Let's have meetings and trainings and all these things about what it means to have, neurodivergence in the workforce, and how, what their experience is like, and, what all that good stuff. Right. So, we had that training, and a lot of us were like, oh, this is really cool. They're totally understanding us. But and I think the intention was good to some extent. I also, I don't think there was anything nefarious, but you've got these neurotypical people that are like, oh, we've heard that you neurodivergents bring something special to the table, and we would love for you to do that. But it very much feels like, or has felt like, okay, perform. Like you're standing in a court as almost like a court jester in front of, the king and his or her group of people, and it's like, okay, we've invited you in, now show us what you can do. Perform, do your special trick, do your special neurodivergent trick, without sort of any consideration of like the environment that we're in, that maybe we need like people to understand us a little bit better, or change some of the environment or the culture so that we're in a place where we can thrive. It's like taking animals out of the wild and putting them in a zoo. Like that's great. They're pretty. What is it you want them to do? Come up to the window and like do something special, where like they're more accustomed to being themselves when they're in the wild amongst their peers in a place that they're comfortable in, right? So it's kind of, I sort of, envision this as like, okay, you've taken the animals out of the safari area and you've put them into the zoo enclosure. And now you're a little confused as to like why they don't just do whatever it is you're hoping that they do, and they don't do it perfectly, right? We do it, we're triggered by certain things. We do it in a different way. We speak differently. We think differently. Maybe we ask the questions that, like the unwritten rules again, questions you're not supposed to ask, and you're not supposed to ask because the owners, the king, the court, the royal court thinks that you're challenging them when really you're not. You're just asking questions for clarification. You just want to understand before, you move forward with something. And so, and also it's kind of like, in being well-meaning, they're also kind of like, oh yeah, you can also like, you neurodivergents can also have like your own little group here at like recess. You can go form like a resource group and all hang out with each other and like do your thing over there. whatever, talk to each other, play, do all that stuff. Like, you don't need us. We'll give you a break to go do that. And like, we find obviously comfort in each other because we recognize each other and we can talk about things and we can help each other kind of work through situations. But like, we aren't necessarily the ones that need to be there because there's nothing we need to learn. We're just trying to like survive, right? We're in a pen and we're trying to survive. Our owners are the ones that really need to be out there hanging out with us at recess and mixing in and really observing and trying to understand all these different traits that we have and how to maximize the tricks and the performances that we're supposed to deliver. And so the challenge in this well-meaning attempt to include us is that like you're bringing us in, you're just kind of snapping your fingers and be like, okay, do your trick. Oh, that was disappointing. You didn't really do it. Or when you did it, you did this thing you're not supposed to do. Okay, fine. Go play with your friends over in, the kennel, doggy daycare, whatever you want to call it, at recess, get it out of your system, and then come back and do that, try that performance again, without ever having like the lion tamers trained to understand anything, right? So like, I think about it with pets too. Like when pets aren't behaving or they're not, they're peeing on the floor, they're eating the furniture, right? You bring in an expert to help you. And so I think these companies did that. They brought in like these coaches and consultants to be like, okay, how do I effectively like coax this performance, or how do I tame and train this person versus how do I work with them? How do I integrate? How do I learn from them? How do I understand their needs? How do I adapt my behavior to make this a safer space for them? It's always about training and like, okay, you're here, you're in our zoo. Now we're going to hire like a tamer expert that tells us how to speak to you so that you respond. But like, it's still like, we don't mean it. We don't understand it. And we have no intention of understanding it because you're supposed to just have a special skill and it's supposed to just happen. Well, how do your skills happen, right? Like a neurotypical, do you just perform, right? You're in an environment that speaks to you, that with amongst people that are similar to you, you all talk about, oh, I don't know, something special happens at the water cooler or at the meeting after the meeting, and you get promoted or whatnot. Like that environment's been working for you, right? That doesn't make any sense to neurodivergents. We don't understand that environment. And you talk about all these unwritten rules. We don't know what they are. We have our own, but we'll tell them to you. They're not like unwritten. Like we'll explain like, yes, this is how I think and this is what works best for me. And, here's the best way to communicate with me. Here's some triggers. Here's some things that I know don't work, right? And yet they keep putting you in these situations that they are aware of the fact you've told them it doesn't work. They put you in there, right? You don't perform the way that they want you to. You react to a trigger. And then the conversation becomes all about your reaction and how it's wrong. And so then you got to go back to the tamer, right? And like nobody focuses on what about the environment that created the trigger? What about what we did that caused this person to not respond in the way that we want them to, right? It's all about like, they're supposed to come in, they're supposed to perform these great tricks and then transform the company, but boy, are they hard to manage sometimes, and they just do these things and they have these weird reactions, and like then that's troublesome and that's disruptive, and then we have to talk to them about it and get them to stop doing that. And it's like you're missing the whole point. Like shoving us off into recess together is not what we need. We need you to go to recess together with a handful of us, right? To learn maybe how not to trigger us and instead create an environment that is safe to us and replicates our free safari life where we were doing our things exceptionally well and you plucked us out. So do we make great pets? I just don't know. I think we could, given the right circumstances, if we were actually brought into the right environment, the right home. But I think that the focus is still pretty off in that it's like, you're here to perform for the royal court, dance. And I don't think many of us dance that well. So I guess, I don't know. Do we make great pets?